right, welcome to the Reinvent Your Reality podcast. I'm your host, Jen Palco. I'm back again with Tara for episode number 5, season 4 of this podcast. We are doing our part 2 of our over 40 edition here, where today we're going to talk about basically living in the prehistoric, pre-cell phone era of technology, kind of the dinosaur age of technology, because we are both elder millennials, whatever you want to call us, in our early 40s. And we grew up before, during, and after this giant shift in technology and the internet and cell phone usage. You know, you have kids these days at 4 years old and they have iPads. Like, we didn't grow up with that. We grew up with, you know, we're talking in the kitchen with a corded telephone to the boy we liked while our mother was listening in the kitchen, like making her meatloaf, you know? So this was a big shift for people of our age and probably people older too, kind of remember this pre and post, and kind of what we're going to get into today. Was it actually better before? How has it changed us? How is it changing kids today and teenagers, you know, growing up? And do we think that it's a detriment to people? We can get into things like AI and that kind of stuff. So yeah, what do you think, Tara? Yeah.
Well, one of the things that came to mind for me was how I define validation before social media versus during. Mm-hmm. So, you know, when you were in grammar school and you'd see your friends at school and then you'd make plans to hang out during the summer, you'd like occasionally call each other and you'd see each other face to face. For me, it was more me judging whether somebody liked me by looking at their body language, just paying attention to comments like, I'll miss you, and next month we have to make plans to get together. But that became more and more, it became tougher for me to settle for that, in quotes. Like now it's, well, you know, this person hasn't texted me in a certain period of time. Maybe they got sick of me. I feel like people are so accessible to each other now that we've redefined what it means for somebody to like us.
Yeah, absolutely. It has totally shifted the way we think about validation and shifted the way just our brains work.
Yeah.
And attention is diverted. And right, like you said, if somebody doesn't text you back or something, they think, oh, like we had an instance of this just this week with you, where this is our third time, by the way, trying to do this podcast. We had technical difficulties. Then there was like miscommunication with the time and stuff. And I had texted Tara the other day, and she didn't text me back within a half hour. And knowing you, I know you're a very reliable friend. So I was like, oh my God, because we had hung out the night before and had like a drink and food. And I was like, oh my God, did the car end up in a ditch somewhere? Like, my brain was going in these weird directions. And, you know, years ago, you wouldn't think of something like that. But now it's like, oh, this person didn't text me back within the past half hour. Like, they must be dead.
Right.
Or something.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's the extreme of it, but the brain does go that way because we've become so, it's like instantaneous, you know?
Yeah. And
I laugh at my mother, you know, because like she gets upset if I don't text her back right away. And it's like, you know, you actually get angry.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. So that's one shift that has, you know, really impacted the way that our brains work and the way we react to certain things, I think.
Yeah. And also engagement with social media posts, like especially because there are people who, you know, they want to build a good follower base or subscription base through YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. So that can be, that can be somebody's livelihood. So I think it's great that there are so many more opportunities for people to get their content out there versus before social media and YouTube. But I had a friend who years ago decided that they wanted to do a bookstagram. And I remember them becoming so angry and hurt and despondent that they weren't getting the number of likes and comments that they felt they should be getting on their posts. And this wasn't somebody who was dependent on this for their livelihood. They just didn't feel like people cared enough about them because they didn't like and comment. And it's like, well, I have this many followers, so I know it looks like a lot of likes, but it's just a small fraction of my followers. And I'm like, what are you doing this for? I thought this was supposed to be bringing you joy and bringing you more meaningful connections with people who like books. And it just became this toxic thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And even I had a conversation this morning. I went to breakfast with a good friend of mine, and she was talking about her kid, how he's very obsessed with, he's only in like fourth grade, but he's obsessed with playing video games and playing like Fortnite and stuff like that. And it's like she tries to get him to do other things. And this is an example of somebody much younger, even fourth grade, not even teenager yet.
Yeah.
Tries to get him to do other things. Hey, you want to do this, or buying art supplies, or let's, go do this. Let's take a break for your eyes, because their eyes are like bloodshot by the end of, the time he's playing. And he's like, no, he doesn't want to do it. So it's like this very addictive quality. And we all know that we're all addicted to it to a certain extent. But in relation to something like a business or followers and likes, it's like this little illusionary world that we're living in. And I feel like some people would prefer to live in that world rather than real life. So in a way, maybe it's a form of escapism in a way, but it's this kind of artificial validation.
Right. Yeah.
That supports our ego and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it can be like a last resort for people. It's like, well, I'm not getting enough attention and uplift in my face-to-face life, so I'm going to seek it out from people on the internet. And when they don't get that, they think, well, there's literally nothing left for me to do, which is, of course, false. But I can see how it'd be easy to come to that conclusion.
Yeah. So do you think we, in a way, had it better when we were younger? Or is it just that we remember, we all like nostalgic things, right? And share it all over the place. But do you think we actually had it better? Or is that just like I don't know, has our perception shifted over time to some degree?
I can't say that I think we had it better. It's too tough to say that, because the advantages that I've gotten from this are so huge, like access to information. I don't think that I would have the friend base that I do now, and my husband, if it weren't for social media. So it's been a lifesaver to me in that respect. Being able to reach out to people. It's like, wow, it's never been so easy to track someone down that I went to school with and see if we still have things in common. I know you and I, I remember we were in our 20s, and I was sitting in my room, talking to you on AIM, and we were looking at MySpace and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing.
And thinking back, it's like, oh, those were the good old days. But that was just like the time period we were in. That was, there were probably a host of other things where we were like, oh, I wish, we could go back to this time. So it's always like we're never satisfied where we are.
What about you?
But yeah, I mean, no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you, if I didn't want to cut you off, but I wanted to know, do you think that it was generally better?
In some aspects, but like you said, the connection part, like you said, there are people I never would have reconnected with or connected with at all, or groups, or, have friends kind of in other parts of the world too. Because being somebody, I'm not the most social person, so I'm not going to go out there and meet people and be super outgoing. So I think for introverts or more passive people, it's a great tool, but you just have to balance it with having limitations on how much you're using, or how much is really getting into your head, into your soul, and kind of taking over your life, and where you're living in this kind of illusionary place. But I think, I think there's pros and cons to any time period you're living in, looking back, like we had computer class, and this is one thing I want to touch on too, like our favorite nostalgic maybe or pre-cell phone kind of memories
Okay.
that
Oh, that's fun.
the Oregon Trail and all this stuff like kind of comes back up to the surface online, which is very ironic because a lot of these memes and stuff, they'll be about the Oregon Trail or do you remember this or all these kind of like blasts from the past, and it's like that makes people feel good even though they're
Yeah.
using the tool of like current modern technology
Hmm.
to give you the nostalgic feel and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I can remember like computer class with like Sister Diane the nun, and having those typing classes and like
Uh-huh.
you'd see how fast you could type into the computer. So a lot of it you would just type gibberish and just like, oh, I got a score of like, I don't know, 100 something, words per minute, blah, blah, blah. And you try to get like a score. We played like Math Munchers and of course Oregon Trail, which is the big one.
And it's so funny because we didn't play Oregon Trail in my schools. It was like, how did I miss something that was such a huge part of our generation?
You didn't play it in your school?
No.
Really?
I remember being in the computer lab, like when I was in grammar school, and they had it was just like the big black screen with the like light blue numbers, just like doing like simple addition and subtraction and all
Okay.
that
Because we
stuff.
play Math Munchers too. Did you guys have that?
I don't remember that at all.
You don't remember math?
No.
Okay. Why did I went to Catholic school? Why did we have more fun games than you?
It might have been the school district you were in. We didn't have a lot
Okay.
of money for stuff.
So you never had the pleasure of dying from dysentery and
Right. I didn't
yeah.
understand any of
I
that.
actually like that game so much that I bought it for my PC at home. Well, I didn't
No
buy it. My
way.
parents bought it, but we bought it for so I could play it at home too.
How do you play the game?
I don't remember. You're like a character and you have to I don't know, you're on the Oregon Trail and you have to just, maneuver your way back. I don't remember. I'm
Okay.
sure you could probably still find it if you're curious.
I bet it's downloadable now.
Yeah, you probably could. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love the memories of getting a new video game console. And it was like, oh wow, you're so used to playing 8-bit Nintendo, then you get the Super Nintendo and you're like, oh, it's revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
Graphics are astounding.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, and now with the rise of AI, it's like what's next? Because right, like you said, 8-bit Nintendo, you're like, oh my God, this is like the coolest game. Or then Sega Genesis came out or Super Nintendo, you're like, these graphics are awesome.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, the graphics are so good. And now you have where you can be in the video game,
Hmm.
and with the rise of AI and stuff, it's like, where are we going to be 10 years from now? It's interesting, it's fascinating, but it's also frightening
I agree.
where we might be.
And you have to bring up a good point. You kind of just brought me to a realization that there was a certain point in my life where I'm going to say that it was in my early 20s where I stopped being thrilled by advancements in technology and I started being dismayed because it became like, well, I like how things are. I don't like this new thing. It's too complicated or it's too much exposure. Everyone's obsessed with it and I can't get away from it. And AI is an example. It's like I'm getting so put off by Instagram because I feel like the people that I used to poke fun at, where it's like I can't always tell when a video is AI nowadays. Like I have to go in the comments to see if somebody calls it out.
Yeah.
And it's really disconcerting because it's like, well, I don't want to believe something that's fake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as we're developing the technology, it's just going
Hmm.
to get more and more realistic, and I see it from a business viewpoint. I mean, the podcast we're doing right now it has AI, generated like to pull clips out of it and stuff, which is really cool. So you can use it for really helpful things
Sure.
instead of doing like the tedious work. But I
Um,
was also having a conversation. I've had a lot of conversations this week, apparently, but I was having another conversation this week with another friend about AI because
mhm.
she's in school, in college for graphic design. And I
Oh.
asked her, what are your thoughts on AI with graphic design? Because I know graphic design, you use Photoshop, you use a lot of things. Like my brother was graphic design major, and I know the work that goes into creating and photo manipulation and stuff. And now with AI, you can, it's much easier. So I asked her, what are your thoughts on it? In your field, because I'm generally curious, if this is a field that's going to eventually taper off,
Yeah.
actually having human beings creating from the ground up. And she's like, we're allowed to use AI in school. She's like, I prefer to do it the old school way. And I totally get that, like doing the old school way.
Sure.
Because she's like, there's something, and she had a very good point here. And I feel this too, because I like to write, I like to create videos and stuff. I'm dabbling a little. I feel like we're being forced into AI, so you have to kind of use it for certain things. I feel like we're just going to eventually all be forced to use it, whether we ask to or not.
Yeah.
But like she had a good point that it's kind of like, the more AI comes out, it's like the value of something that is actually made by a human, the value will go up. So say it's like, here's a question for you. Would you rather would you hold more value if you had, say, like an oil painting and a friend of yours did it and you knew that she put months and months and months of time and effort into it and she did it from scratch, versus what value would you give to maybe just like when somebody 3 clicks and the same picture was generated? So it's like having an original Picasso versus a reprint, right? So I thought that was a really good point, that even though we have a shift in AI and it's going to keep developing and you're going to see more AI slop come out, and art and music and all these kind of things, I think there's still, being human, that we still know that there's more value in something that's actually heartfelt and created by the humans. There's something more spirited about that, because we know time goes into that. Musician, they put hours and weeks and months and years into creating music and stuff. So there's something valuable about that I think even though a lot of people, myself included, are like, oh, AI, so I don't want to do it. I'm resistant to change. I don't want it. I want to do things old school. I want to write on pen and paper. I think we do still have the understanding that there still is a lot more value to something that's self-created.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent
and original
point.
Yeah.
Because I could even see it in stuff that was getting criticized before AI was even close to being a topic of conversation. Like, you could see a movie review or an album review from the 90s where someone is saying, well, this was clearly just thrown together for cash. Everyone's sleepwalking through their roles, and it's crappily edited, and the script is lazy. And everyone was doing that with their own brains, and it got a lot of flack for it. So if someone's just using AI to churn out a movie, I would think that's going to be even more unpalatable to people.
Yeah.
Because there's not even any heart and soul that goes into that.
Right. But at the same time, I guess it's frustrating for artists or for people, even like I would say even like book publishers, deciphering like what's being written with AI versus, you have ways to detect it right now, but in the future, will you, or is it going to kind of outsmart the detection methods, that sort of thing, where you're not going to know, well, did somebody really put the time in, or was this just like generated through,
Yeah, what I'm hoping
that kind of thing
is that we can use AI to detect AI. So like if it's getting good enough to make something that fools a lot of people, then you could like, I don't know, have a database where you look up a book or you run text through some scanning software and it tells you if it's AI. That's what I have my fingers crossed for. Because, I am getting scared. That's another thing that scares me. Like, I don't know if you're on Goodreads.
No.
So I have a Goodreads account, and I'm seeing more and more, and I don't know if this is even true, but people will hate a book and they'll say, you know what, this really sounds like it was written with AI. Like I've read novels, I don't ever suspect that, but someone else does, and then it has you questioning. It's like, well, maybe they did use generative, oh my God.
Generative. I can't say it either. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I mean, like, remember, this is another thing. Remember years ago, I want to say this was in the early 2000s, there was all this stuff in the headlines about living, like human actors getting replaced by CGI people.
Oh, yes.
And then that just failed because they were all creepy and dead-eyed and all that.
Uh-huh.
I think it's also
CGI is a whole other thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I haven't even watched the new Stranger Things yet because I feel like they use too much CGI now.
I haven't even seen it. Just the clips I've seen. I'm like, it is
of the new season.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it, and I'm sure it's good. But it's like it's too much CGI. Like the best, in my opinion, the best season was season 1 when it was like a mystery, and you didn't see the monster, and you didn't see all explosions. It's like too much for me. Maybe other people like that, but it's just like too much.
Yeah.
I'd rather have like the creepy kind of where your mind wanders and your mind is kind of filling in the blanks of what you think is happening.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
But that's why I'm kind of like, I'm not going to watch it tonight.
Okay,
putting it off a little, but I will watch it. I'm sure it's good.
I don't know. I do see your point because I was never.
You get sick of it, yeah.
Yeah, and I was never super. I mean, the show didn't like. I watched actually the whole first season. Steven showed it to me, and I'm like, it's good, but it's not really my thing. But then I saw clips of the newest season, and they're like people who levitate in the air, and like all their bones break and eyes pop out and stuff. And it's not disturbing because it looks computer game to me.
Right.
But yeah. I don't know. I guess
speaking of computer games, did you have a favorite PC game when you were younger? Like, did you play games on your computer as well as like the consoles?
I dabbled in that very briefly because I didn't have a home computer until I was 18.
Oh, wow.
And
your family didn't have one?
No, and we spent, oh God, I want to say at least a year without internet. So when we had the computer, I was like, oh,
and you survived.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I want
nowadays, a year without internet would be unfathomable.
Yeah. It would be like,
so that's like a difference. It's like, yeah, back then, now it's like Instagram's down for 10 minutes or, I remember I don't go on Twitter anymore.
I don't
since
either.
Mr. Elon took it over. I don't know if I actually deleted my account or whatever. It might still be there, but I never liked it anyway. But the only time I go on there is because when it was Twitter, pre-Elon Musk, you would go on Twitter to see if something happened. That would be the first place that it would like, people would be talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember like, I would not be able to log on to maybe Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And I'll be like, So I would go onto Twitter and it'd be like hashtag Instagram down. And I'd be like, okay, it's not just me.
Okay.
It's down for 10 minutes. So it's wild how it's like, oh my God, 10 minutes. Whereas like your family went a year without internet access, which is,
right.
It's crazy to think about how that would be like devastating now.
How was the arrival of internet in your house? Like, do you have a memory of when you first got it and you could sit by yourself and just look up all this stuff?
I don't remember. I mean, I remember like the old modem and stuff and, would get cut off when your mother would like, or somebody would be trying to make a phone call or something. You'd be like, no, I'm trying to use the internet, And then I think we had maybe DSL was better. It was different times for sure.
Yeah. Okay, the DSL didn't cut out with the phone, right?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I'm not up on the tech, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember when we first got AOL, I remember sitting in my parents' basement. It was like a rec room. And I looked up like FionaApple.com and it had like these grainy graphics of her and was like playing one of her songs, and I was just blown away. So I'm like,
Nice.
I don't know how I'm not going to spend all day and night on this computer. There's so much to look up. And
Yeah,
now,
it's like a whole world is now open to you.
mm-hmm,
And now we're just desensitized because having instant access all the time to people, to
mm-hmm,
information, to we see how desensitized we are to even shock value things. And it's like the shock value has to be more and more. You always have to keep elevating it to get a reaction out of people because we've become so desensitized to disasters and because we see it constantly.
yeah,
The things playing over and over again, and we're like, oh, another school shooting or another this or another.
mm-hmm,
So in a way, it's terrible because the media now has to up its game to
right,
get more clicks because
yeah,
they're now competing for people's attention.
mm-hmm, yep. And everything's
So
monetized.
this is why you find these like really outrageous headlines a lot of times. And there's
Yeah,
like nothing in the article, or there's nothing, you know what I mean? Or
yeah,
it's totally misleading information just so they can kind of survive in this world of competition.
right,
But yeah, they have to keep elevating it and keep same with YouTube, with the clickbait titles. You have to keep like elevating your game to try and get, because everybody's attention is all over the place with the short attention spans, that you have to like hook somebody in somehow.
right.
And how you're going to do that, you have to do that some way.
Right. Yeah. Like you get like the family, I'm sure you've seen this, like the family YouTubers or whatever, and somebody's like, I'm leaving my children, and then you click into it and it's like, I'm going on vacation,
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, because they want to lure you
Yes.
in, like you're saying,
Yes.
with doom and
Absolutely. Yeah.
chaos. And then like
Yeah.
CNN, sometimes I'll check into CNN just to see what the headlines look like political news. And when like, let's say a mass shooting happens, they pound you with this font, like this size 72 font, like
Hmm.
18 dead at whatever university. And it just makes you feel agitated. Like, well, this means that it's the worst news, and I have to keep clicking to get every detail possible about it.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So we keep flip-flopping back and forth, but let's talk about some favorite I know we have some favorite websites we used to go on.
Huh?
Nostalgic. So let's see. Early internet. Let's talk about early internet because kids these days don't know about early internet
Right.
as
Yep.
much as. Um, like you had things like E-Bombs World,
Newgrounds, right? That was it.
Newgrounds. So these were, for anybody who doesn't know, these were, what would you consider, like compilations of little short videos and
Mm-hmm.
animations and really funny, ridiculous things.
Yep. Like
But
flash
they were
animation
all
video.
pretty much, they were all animated. They weren't like people. So it wasn't,
I don't
yeah.
remember
So
their name
there were
live.
people who generated like their own, like little computer, like they generated through the computer, right? Little animations.
Right. So it would just be
Yeah.
like clips of, I don't know, like screen capture clips of celebrities and little drawings they made. They looked so amateurish, and they would just be like sliding around, or like
Yeah.
the most basic animation, somebody's arm going like this.
Yes, for anybody who has never seen Lesko's Revenge, look it up. It's on YouTube.
Uh-huh. Gems in my masterpiece.
Lesgo. Yeah, that's the one we always used to watch.
Uh-huh.
But there was something about it because it was so unpolished and it was so amateur and it's so and now I think we appreciate it even more for its amateur aspect.
Definitely.
That's why there's some of these really old, crappy quality, like terrible animation videos or whatnot. They like they're super popular now because
Yeah.
people truly appreciate the raw, like early internet, like unedited kind of, aspect of it.
Yeah. And I'm wondering what's going to happen like to Gen Alpha, right? Like these little kids. You know how like
Is that what the new one is? Gen
it
Alpha?
is, yeah.
It is. Okay.
I was talking to Steven about this fairly recently because we talked about like and this is another thing, like these random trends that start because of like catching fire on social media, like kids saying 6'7", And it doesn't mean
Right.
anything. It's just supposed to be like, well, you're not in on the
Well,
joke.
some people think it's satanic,
Really? Okay.
but that was on a South Park episode too, so it's kind of it's showing how ridiculous it is, how these
Oh,
things that's a good example of how things catch on,
yeah.
um and people look at, oh well, it must mean something even though it means
Hmm.
nothing.
Right. And like
Yeah.
back when I was concerned about following trends, like fashion trends or slang or whatever was going on, I used to look at the people in my school or like the people at the mall, or I'd have to read magazines. Like, do you remember they used to have columns? I don't know if you ever read like YM or 17 magazine, and they would have it in
Hmm.
columns of like what was in and what was out. Like, well, this is lame now.
Right.
Straight leg
Yes.
jeans are lame.
Yeah.
Now it's
I
like,
think magazines still have that
really?
to a certain degree, probably.
Okay. And
Yeah.
now it's like I just go on Instagram and I see something like, oh, Gen Z is wearing wide leg pants. And then it's like I go out the next day and I'm surrounded by people in wide leg pants.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's silly.
Yeah. And I think Gen Z's embraced Y2K culture, like the fashion, music. So it's like, is Gen Alpha going to be like playing Newgrounds and E-Bombs World videos and thinking that's the best thing? You know?
Right. Right. I mean, nothing, it seems like nothing is original anymore. It's just
Yeah.
like things repeating over and over. Oh, this is cool,
Right.
Meanwhile, like your mother probably wore it, years ago and you wouldn't think it was cool, but because it was on TikTok or it was on, because an influencer, one person said it was somebody who seemed important, who had, a million followers, then suddenly, oh, yeah, this is cool. So it's like, even though they don't think it's cool, it's kind of like just, I don't know, kind of convincing yourself that it is to some degree.
And I get
Yeah.
mad, I get really mad at myself because there are certain things that if you just showed it to me and I went in blind there and you were like, what do you think of this? I would say, I think it's hideous.
Hmm.
And then if I see a lot of people wearing it, I'm like, maybe I don't think it's so hideous
Right.
because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it's so popular. So it must be
Hmm.
nice.
Yeah. And there's something called collective illusions too. And let me see if I could explain it right. But it's, we think, and that's kind of the same, aspect where it's like, we think we do things or we have a view because we think other people have the same view. But
Uh-huh.
those people don't really have the same view because they're thinking you have the same, you know what I mean? Like for example, a good example is, saying, well, most people think that like money is the most important thing in life. And when actually it's not, I think it's more like happiness and other aspects in life. But it's like money is the most important because other people think that too. But other people don't actually think that, but they say they think that because they think you think that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So we're kind of like projecting our. I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's like this very weird thing. I don't know.
So it's like is it like two people can talk and both of them are thinking to themselves, well, everyone believes ABC, so I'm going to say that.
Hmm.
And then
Right.
maybe neither of them believes it, but it's like, well, this is just a
Exactly. Yeah,
collective
you're
agreement.
explaining it much better than I am.
No,
But
I
yeah,
understood what you said.
something to that degree,
Okay.
degree,
Yeah,
for
which is a
sure.
shame because,
Hmm.
I still think there's room for debate. I think, and this is another thing I see come up on social media a lot, where it's like, well, nobody can just have a difference of opinion anymore. No one can just have a good natured debate. You have to be vilified for having a different opinion. That's not
Hmm.
true at all. I like debating, I like hearing other points of view, but there's a boundary. Like if someone's being a vile person,
Yeah. There's healthy debate versus using like violent rhetoric and
Mhm.
rage kind of rage bait and that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
yeah, two totally different things, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, like if we're going to have a spirited debate over whether McDonald's is good, that's fun. It doesn't hurt anybody.
Right.
But, you get into all this political stuff, which, like that's another thing, the whole social justice warrior thing. I've seen this before in people, which is frustrating. I don't know if you've known anyone who sees a lot of stuff on social media and they agree with it and they're able to like actually go out there and make a change, but they would rather just get on a soapbox and say, well, you're wrong for this reason and you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that.
You mean on social media?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you should be sharing this and you should be, watching these videos. And then when you think, well, what have they actually done to help their community? I don't know what it is, right? Because you're just sitting in the dark, clicking on your phone all day.
Yeah, I mean, I think social media breeds a certain type of humans. You have the experts online, right? Everybody's an expert, the cyber bullies, the rage baiters, that kind of thing. But yeah, everybody has an opinion, and fortunately, I think everybody else should have the same opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm all for, like, if you want to share something that you're passionate about, what I don't like is when people get critical and they're like, well, you don't do enough, or you need to think about this. And then they also aren't really doing anything.
Right.
Like sharing 80 Instagram stories that hardly anyone looks at is not.
Yeah, that only gets so far, and it turns people off, right?
Right.
Just spewing out, you should, but not taking action. Because essentially, I mean, social media, it's a platform for you to have a voice. But again, like it's so oversaturated that voice just gets drowned out.
Exactly.
Where you just become kind of a nuisance to people's ears.
Right.
Because you can't physically change somebody's opinion, really. I mean, you can give them facts and stuff like that, but I think you have to go the understanding that just people don't like being spoken at kind of thing.
Right.
Rather than having like a mutual conversation, they don't like being told what to do, because I think that represents maybe something in their childhood, like mom and dad telling you to do something. And you wanted to do you want to do the opposite. Go clean your room. No,
right.
I'm not going to do it because you told me to do it. I was going to do it later, but now I'm definitely not going to do it because you just told me to do it, like commanded me to do it. So I think, we're a bunch of just angry babies. Adults have kind of regressed back into that when it comes to social media, because I think it brings out all sides of just these like very primitive kind of or very childlike tendencies and qualities.
Right.
Because people get very reactive on social media. So I think we just revert back to that like baby self, where we're just sitting in those emotions, and we're,
I agree.
Yeah. It's I don't think it's evolving us very much. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, and it is sad because
yet I'm gonna keep using it, but
exactly. Yeah, I'm not deleting my Instagram anytime soon.
Yeah, because I do appreciate it for the positives,
right?
The connecting with people. I just wish that I liked the initial concept of it, connecting with people and stuff, and it has become like the biggest advertising platform, like Facebook was, and now Instagram. People are using it for marketing, advertising. You see a lot of sponsored ads popping up in newsfeed, and I guess I'm guilty of this too, because I'll post things to try to promote like a video I'm doing or stuff that I like to talk about, or like this podcast I'm going to post up, and so we're all guilty of it to a certain degree. But it's like, where is that? You got to find that balance.
Right. Yeah. And then the whole like monetization, I don't fault people for doing it, but then it's also, It's like everyone's just trying to distribute content and they have to pay the bills, right? But then, like, I feel like corporations will prey because it's like I notice there are certain people who do like, I don't know, like comedy Instagram reels, and they start getting more popular, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm coming home after a hard day at work. Can't wait to have a refreshing Bud Light be, you know what I mean? Because they're starting to
Right.
like, do
Well, that's the
commercials.
sponsorships, yeah, the paid
Right.
sponsors,
Yeah.
and I get that. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're that's your job, you're an influencer and you can
Mhm.
do. But I think you have to align with the right sponsors.
Yep.
Like it has to fit with what you're kind of doing and talking about. And I've seen people do it in a smart way,
Huh?
like where they turn if they're do comedy videos, they just incorporate it into their comedy.
That's a good idea.
Like I remember what's that girl's name? I can't remember her name on she did like the songs where she would sing with like a straight face and then she would advertise for the bread.
Oh yeah, is it Dave
Dave's
Killer
bread?
Bread? Oh
Yeah,
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 what's her
that
name? I
was
don't remember
good.
her name. But something like that because that even though you knew that was like a sponsor, it was very entertaining and she did it very, very well, I thought.
Yeah, that's what I wish
I thought
more
that was
people would do.
hilarious. Yeah.
It's like they go
Hmm.
from comedy to, like more of a serious tone, cheesy commercial. And it's like,
Hmm.
well, yeah, I get that, you have a sponsorship. It's going to be really helpful to you, but it's like that jarring tone change.
Yeah. But I guess if the content is really good and the
Yeah,
viewer really wants to see, like, then you just kind of accept that and you're just like,
right.
all right, I'm just gonna like sit here for 30 seconds to a minute and listen to this and not pay attention and then come back to like what this person was saying because they put out quality content,
Right. Yeah.
that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. So what else you got?
What else I have in my little mental notepad for this? We talked about the AOL, the computer games, the video games. Oh, I guess the last thought that I wanted to mention was the safety of identity. That is the one thing that I think we really lucked out. I think you and I have talked about all the college parties that we went to. You have some drinks, and you know that there's nothing that anyone recorded other than a digital camera photo.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no way that somebody could take a picture of us doing something dumb and immediately have it accessible to
Put it up.
thousands of
That's a good
people.
point. Yep.
There were no deep fakes. We didn't have to worry about like our face ending up on someone else's body.
Right. And if they did, it would be a really corny amateur
Right.
Yvonne's World type animated thing and it would be kind of funny,
Yeah,
but because it wouldn't
right.
look real and you would know right off the bat. Yeah. But
Right.
that's a good point because I can't imagine like cuz I remember going to parties or like after prom or whatever and I had like my little uh I did eventually get like the little digital camera, but you had the wind up cameras.
Wind up cameras?
Like the little throwaway disposable cameras. And you would like
Oh,
wind it up and it was only good for like, a set of photos or whatever and you'd get it developed and you would throw the camera as like a throwaway camera.
yes, I remember those. Like
I don't
you
know
like
if they
take them
still
on trips.
sell those.
Uh-huh. I
Do they
forgot
not? I
all
don't know.
about those.
But like you had those and it was like you had one shot to get like decent pictures or you get your
Uh-huh.
drunk pictures and then you go to the Kmart or whatever and have them developed and you'd be like, "Oh,
Right.
like a week later you'd be like, oh, I don't know what's on these photos. But now
Uh-huh.
it's like everybody's got a cell phone, so you literally have like 100 kids around you all taking the same angle, and it's like it's ridiculous. And yeah, you can just post that right up, and the damage you can do.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah,
like concerts or um comedy shows you go to, like everyone's just sitting there watching it through their phone screen because they want to
yeah,
record all of it. And I'm
yeah.
guilty, like I'll record
Same.
clips, but then I have to remind myself, you did buy a ticket to enjoy the show, like
Right. Yeah.
not.
I had that too. And I went to like an NHL game or even just
Mhm.
walking outside in nature is like, oh, I want to get a really like pretty picture, you know.
Yes.
And then it's like you're spending so much time like having your, and it's like you should not have your phone even out at that point because you're trying to enjoy nature and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think if everybody took a detox for like a year, I think the world would just like heal itself to a certain degree.
I would love to see that. I know it,
But how is that ever gonna,
right.
how are we gonna get everybody to agree to that? It's
Society would fall apart.
yeah, so you have
Sadly.
to, do it for yourself and not,
Mhm.
push other people to do it.
Right.
Yeah. So,
So what about you? Any thoughts?
I don't know, any other nostalgia type type things?
Hmm. I guess that was it for me. Can't think of
Yeah.
anything off the top of my head anymore. If it comes
Yeah, I
to
guess.
tech. Oh, I
Yeah, I
guess
guess
the last thing would have been like the excitement over DVDs.
DVDs. My family had a laser disc player too.
I never had Laserdisc.
You never had that? Yeah, we had
About
one
that.
briefly. Those things are like huge, like record size, and you had to like flip it and but that's another nostalgic thing is like video stores.
Oh, yeah.
And I was talking about this, yeah, the other night with somebody how cuz a lot of it like just talking like AI or just the instant access to everything. It's like part of the enjoyment is not just the end result.
Mm-hmm.
It's also the process of like the in between. So say, oh, I want to watch a movie later or something. It's not just like the end result of like, okay, boom, here's the movie, like Netflix. But it's actually physically going to the video store,
Right.
getting that smell, that plasticky smell, and like
Uh-huh.
checking all the cases to see if your movie was in, or finding like a really like unique movie that, oh, I'd never seen this before or heard of it or something, and trying it out. And just there's something to that I think the current generations are never gonna sadly get to experience,
Yes.
because that also puts you more in a, instead of just like instant gratification, I'm sitting on my couch, I'm going to watch this movie. You don't appreciate the movie as much because you just have all these a million movies that you can just like, oh, this movie sucks, I'm going to turn it off and put on another one. There's something, again, talking about value of like going through that process of like driving to us, or your parents driving you to the store,
Mm-hmm.
dropping you off at the store, you actually having to walk around, look at all the like uh like VHS tapes or whatever, DVDs,
Right.
pick one out, pay, rent it, right? You have to return it. And it's
5 days.
like current generation, oh, that sounds so tedious, but there was something to that I think our generation and people older than us like really miss.
Yeah. I
Same with
feel
like now music stores too. Like I really miss music stores and going and looking through CDs and stuff.
same here. You feel like
Yeah.
you unearthed a treasure is the way that I look at it. Like, and I
Mhm.
remember the slow change, like going to the video stores, had a similar experience to you. It was so thrilling to like actually find what you had in mind. And
Mhm.
then they had eBay where you could actually like get people's used VHS tapes or CDs that you'd never be able to find on your own.
Mhm.
And then I remember getting like the envelope, the puffy envelope, and I would know that like the VHS was inside, and I was like, I can't believe I
Yes.
have this.
Yeah.
And now, like
Yeah.
you said, it's you just go to whatever streaming app and you can find
Mhm.
essentially everything you ever thought of.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm never gonna watch everything in my lifetime because there's too much in the library now.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's like technology has it's made things a lot easier for us,
Mm-hmm.
like more convenient,
Right.
but convenient doesn't always equate to uh what's the word I'm looking for?
To
Like I don't want to say
fulfilling,
good. What's a synonym for good that I would say?
maybe fulfilling.
Fulfilling. Yeah. That's a better word than my little amateur word. But yeah, I mean, yeah, convenient doesn't always equate to fulfilling,
Yeah, I
I would
completely
say.
agree.
Yeah. So on that note, anything else you got?
I guess that was it for me.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, I'm glad we finally got to do it. Third time's a charm.
Yeah, right? I was scared when you were like, oh, well, if it doesn't work out this time, it wasn't meant to be. And I was like, no, it was
And I
meant to
would
be.
seriously think it wasn't meant to be because I'm like, no, at this point we're just forcing it. So,
Yeah, we
you
have so
know,
many great things to talk about. It has to happen.
yeah, even if they're not, nothing of value, it's still fun. So,
Right. Well,
yeah.
thanks,
So,
Jen. This was great. Another
yes,
great conversation.
absolutely.
Those
Yes.
gold nuggets.